a leader in education will be quite different from a leader in politics. While there'll be some fundamental characteristics which are common, in every context, leadership is slightly different.
Hello and welcome to Up Close and Personal Season 2 here at InvokED Studios, where we dive deep into the heart of leadership, collective action and education equity. I am your host, Alron Chittadam. Today, our guest is Ms. Shoma Bakre, over 30 years of experience in CSR, entrepreneurship, media and HR management, business development, corporate training and teaching. She voluntarily retired from corporate life in 2012 to pursue her passion for social development, which is when she founded Let's Do Some Good Foundation. Shoma, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
An author, documentary filmmaker, motivational speaker, and you've also learned Hindustani music, correct?
I have, yes.
How do you do it? What's the drive?
I think what happens is, as you start growing older, you realize that there's only one life to live. And there's so much that you want to do. And if you think of doing everything sequentially, if you think that I'm going to do my job first and then I will do something else and something else, it never happens. I realized that very soon in life. So I decided, let's take the plunge, follow the passions, do what I can, give it my best, and don't expect anything in return. I think that's what has been my mantra. It helps me, and I have been able to do many things I'm told, and I enjoy every bit of everything I do.
Yeah. But also on that note, what does your New Year resolutions look like? Do you have some crazy ambitions? And on that, what is your New Year resolution for this year? Have you already achieved it, or what do you have in?
I have no New Year resolution. Yeah. I have a new day every day. So New Year is nothing special.
Right.
As my family tells me, I can't sit still. There's constantly some project I am up to. And especially after I retired around 42, I was, one of the things that I understood or told myself is they're very, very smart people who do startups, who don't make it. And there is a reason why I was able to do a startup with 3 other people, my partners, sell it after 7 years, retire at 42, make some money so that I don't have to worry about bread and butter anymore. And I could take a plunge into social work, right? And I said, God has a plan.
Right.
So I think for me, that was when I realized that there is a purpose in your life, right? And I was very greedy that now I don't have a company to take care of. I have a free flowing canvas. I can start from a blank slate. And there is so much I would like to do, which I could not do in so many years. And now I have the opportunity, so I can't sit still. So for me, every day is now a new day. Like today is a very new day, sitting and chatting with you.
Do you resonate yourself with the character of Kabir, or the character from Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, where he says, I'm going to work till 40 and then I'm going to just... Do you see a resemblance?
I never had a plan like that. I never had a plan in my life.
Yeah.
As I said, God had a plan.
Right.
I studied English literature because I didn't have to study. I liked reading and I didn't want to study any other subject. I became an entrepreneur by chance. I worked in corporate America, did my MBA there by chance. I came back to India by chance. And along the way, I think everything happened to me. I never planned. So I never planned at 40 what I'll do. I almost died at 32 at childbirth.
Yes, yeah.
So I think that was another, for me, a trigger that, even today when I look back and I'm like, if I had died so many years back, I mean, I would not have seen this world, right? So that was a trigger. And never planned, I don't plan what will happen tomorrow for me. And no, the answer is absolutely no. I take things as they come. And I'm very fortunate to have met people who are phenomenal. I mean, your team, Mantra, Santosh, Khushbu, they have come and made opportunities for me to work in spaces I had wanted to, but I would never be able to do myself.
Correct,
right?
Yeah.
I have met the most wonderful development workers through this journey and piggybacked on all of them. That's an opportunity that came and I grabbed. So I never planned anything. I never planned to do anything in my life. So if somebody asks me, give some advice, what we should do, I'm the wrong person. Follow your heart. Pick opportunities that come your way and give it your 500% if you are passionate about that, right? That's what I've done and it's worked.
How nice. But these skills of, that you've been a filmmaker, you've learned music, how does all these skills hone your leadership ability? Do they play a key role?
A leadership role, leadership is not unidimensional, right? Even the concept of leadership is very contextual. A leader in education will be quite different from a leader in politics. While there'll be some fundamental characteristics which are common, in every context, leadership is slightly different, right? And I attribute a lot of my success to being not brainy. I have many more smart people who worked for me, worked with me, exist in my house, my children, my husband, much smarter than me. I give my success in the non-profit world, in the for-profit world, in the business world, to my creativity. So if you're a creative person, you are able to look at problems. I can solve any problem today, and I'm not trying to brag or boast, but it's happened because things get thrown my way.
Right.
And somehow, things I have never known about or never known how to solve or do anything about, creatively I'm able to solve that problem. Okay? So I think, yes, music, art, you talk about anything in the creative space. If you have it, it gives you that much more mental agility, flexibility to think out of the box and try to come up with solutions for things that otherwise are very difficult. So for me, it's helped.
And on that note of solutions, when we talk about Let's Do Some Good Foundation, how do you look at scaling? Where does the number end and the deeper initiatives begin?
So, very interesting. When I started Let's Do Some Good Foundation, I did not want to start a foundation. I had just sold my company and I had retired. And I knew one thing I wanted to do, which is work in the education space, because I come from a very small town in Assam. Most people haven't even heard the name of that town. And the only reason I'm sitting here today and, even talking to you is because I had a very good education.
Right.
My parents were very middle class, but invested a lot in my education. I went to one of the best English medium schools in Meghalaya. And, English is the language of opportunity. Now it's getting much better in India. I think Hindi and other languages are much more accepted. In our times, absolutely not. And I'm mighty old. I'm talking about 40 years, 50 years back. So I knew that if education could have changed my life the way it has, that is the space that I want to work in and create opportunities for more people like me.
Right.
And that's how it started. That's how I met amazing people. That's how Mantra came into my life. And when I started this, there was no desire to do an NGO. Believe me, I had done a for-profit organization. I was burnt out. And doing a non-profit is equally hard, even more, because you know why, right? You're the fundraising manager. So when I started, I had no desire to do an NGO. I had done a lot of research. The first thing I did when I put in my papers in the parent company that had acquired us, after 16 months, they wanted us to stay on, and I said, no, I have to get out and I want to do something else. The first thing I did was I started looking at the education space, and I used to fund a lot of organizations without even seeing them. I used to write checks. And in Bangalore, there were about 3. And I said, let me go and visit them. Let me see what they're doing. So I saw they were doing, all of them trying to educate underprivileged children in different ways. The paths were different, outcome was same. That is when I started looking around. I said, why don't these people talk to each other? There are hundreds of NGOs doing the same thing, reinventing the wheel, wasting very precious time, energy, resource, money. And at that time, we were like about 60 plus years of independence happened, and we still had the lowest indicators if you talk education, health, everything. And I'm like, what is going on? When I started talking to different organizations, I started talking to professors of TIS. My niece introduced me to them. She was doing her master's there. And I talked to the alumni network across India. And everybody, I would ask them, why don't you guys collaborate? I'm seeing everybody doing the same thing. And so the needle is moving very slowly. Why? And they said, no, NGOs don't collaborate. This was about 12, 13, 14 years back. 15 years back, I'm talking about.
Right.
Said, no, NGOs are very competitive because they all go after the same kitty of funds, and they don't operate well. Many of them, they don't want to open their kimonos and show what's going on. I said, oh, is that so? I said, well, I would love to encourage people to collaborate, and I'm happy to facilitate that. When we started that, Manipal Foundation CEO came forward. He liked what we were doing and said, here is a check for X amount, and we would like you to run our education project and partner with you. And I said, no, I can't take that because we are not an NGO. I cannot. He said, you make some organization and then I will want you to take that check. Right. And that's how. So even to this day, whenever I talk to him, I say, you're responsible for all the work I have to do now. I had retired nicely, but now I have to run this NGO. So there was never a desire to add another NGO to the space. It's not needed.
Right.
I only wanted to facilitate collaboration, but along the way, many things have happened. Scale was never an intent, but now we have a platform of over 150 organizations on the platform we run, only promoting collaboration. Mantra is one of them as well. But to me, it's not about millions. It's not about how many lives. I don't want to say, 100,000 children have been made numerate literate. I don't care. That one child who would have fallen through the cracks, if my endeavor can save that child, and we see these results every day now. They are engineers, teachers, doctors working at the airports, and these were slum children who never went to school. At 10, 12, they joined our program. 15, they joined our program. We mainstreamed them, and now, so that is what to me is important. We are not in the numbers game. Thankfully, because our model is such that we have 150, 200 organizations we piggyback with and work collectively, we have probably reached hundreds of thousands of children, women, for education, livelihood, health, nutrition, you name it, and we do all, right? But that was never the intent. It happened because of collaboration.
Just to double click on you talking about your school life, was there a particular teacher that that had an impact on you?
One particular teacher had a great impact on me, not because she was a positive influence. I used to hate geography, and even today I'm very geographically challenged. You place me somewhere, I can't find my way. This person in grade 6 was a geography teacher, and geography used to be the most boring class. And one day I just smiled across the table at somebody, and she threw the book, opened the door and walked out. And that was so hurtful, because there was no malintent in that smile, right? And I swore to myself that that is not something a child should get in a classroom. Respect, joy, happiness,
empathy,
eagerness to come to school. These are the things that the children, should experience, right? So yes, I did have some influence, but it was this negative influence that shaped my looking at. I used to teach at a college, and every time I would look at the youth, I used to teach in a college in Assam. English literature to about 99% of the people in my class, it was a women's college, did not know English. And I had to teach Shakespeare, Milton, you name it, right? How do you do that? And I had to teach in Assamese, English. But every time I would look at them, and these were like bachelor's degree students, and I never looked down upon them. I had a lot of empathy, and I would always say, if I place myself in their shoes, they have to pass this subject, because English was a general subject. They have to be treated well. I can't say, oh, you can't read, so you fail. How do I make them feel included? So that lesson from grade 6, when I was, walked out upon, to my later years when I was a teacher, it just continued. And I still believe now, also to this day, any teacher I interact with in any of the schools we go to, I look for that quality. Are they kind? Are they empathetic? You may be very educated and very qualified, but you may not be qualified to teach a class.
Before I get to my last question, folks here at InvokED, who are the speakers, the guests, they have few questions for leaders such as yourself. What I would request you to do is, if you could just take any one chit from these bowl, read the question aloud and answer it as well, that'd be really nice.
Okay, all right. Let's see what this says. The jar of inspiration. Wow. Okay, let me try that. Share a moment when you overcame a challenge and what you learned from it. Very interesting. It's very hard with a life like mine. There is not a moment that has been challenging. There have been N. And a memory like mine, I also forget very quickly, right? But I think one of the challenges I'll never forget, I think I did mention that I almost died at childbirth. And because I was aware when it was thought that I perhaps may lose my life, I think that was the moment that I realized that I'm only 32 and I have barely done much. If I live, I need to do so much more. And that has stayed with me. So the biggest challenge was recovering from that. It took me about a year to get out of that mental space. It took me a year to get adjusted to a life where you are so scarred because you're awake through the whole process when you're thinking you will die. And then you have 2 little children. You've not seen the child who's born, and you have a 2-year-old that you're thinking will be left motherless, right? So that was the moment where I think I was like, God, if I come out of it, I'm not going to be indolent ever.
Right.
So that whole year was very challenging because, it was a huge trauma. And after that, I think it just gave me the strength and the will and the power to do anything that I would have never even thought of before, right? And with the feeling in my head that I may not have been here today. So if tomorrow I fail at what I'm trying to do, it's not make a single difference to the whole wide world.
Right.
So let me give it my best. Let me try because my heart is in it. And I'm hoping it will be of some good to me and whatever I'm trying to do.
Right.
Let's go ahead and we'll see.
And on that note, using your experience, if you could give one ray of hope or a message of hope for a young audience who are watching, what would it be?
I really have no message of hope for the young people. I think we are getting a lot of hope from the young people. I mean, people like you who are taking the plunge for the betterment of the country.
Right.
What hope can I give you? Right. We took our time, we established ourselves in life, we got comfortable, and then we decided, let us give back to the world and society and our country, right?
Yeah.
Who are we to give you advice? Who are we to give you hope? You guys give us so much inspiration. Every day I meet people like you, people like Santosh, Kushbu, who are the founders of Mantra. I meet many young founders. I meet many people who have, graduated from IIT and have decided we're just going to make India better, or we're just going to work on the education system. I say, guide us. Let us know how we can help in contributing to the dreams that you are going to realize for us in the next 50 years.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your stories, your insights, and your wisdom. I hope they stay on with us. And thank you to our audience for tuning in. Stay connected, keep the dialogue going, and we'll see you in the next episode.